Good evening, everybody. It is once again time for the Cruel Fan Sports Hour. Josh Filer here with you, Ryan Collins, Whitney Dowds here on a Wednesday night. A lot to talk about, a lot of NBA moving and shaking. The draft is tonight. We got some baseball talk. Robbie Cano, goo! And, of course, our NFL, our Eagles and Patriots. All going to get into that later on this Cruel Fan Sports Hour, brought to you by Ice Shaker. Check out the link in the description and go to that website and check it out and enjoy your cold beverages. Anyway, all right, Ryan, Dog, Whit, my man. So many trades, some moving and shaking. The season just ended, but they're going to start back up again. The draft, they said, is tonight. Gordon Hayward traded? Going to get traded?
Yeah, there's no there's a couple teams in the mix, but I heard some rumors, a lot of rumors on the Celtics about how to reorganize that team. Do you get rid of Marcus Smart? But what I've actually heard that they're more contemplating on doing is trading Gordon Hayward, and it seems like that is inevitable. They're just waiting to see when that happens, but there's also the possibility of trading some other guys. But it seems like the Hawks are coming into play for a possibility of a Gordon Hayward trade, which I thought more Indiana would be where he would want to go. So we'll see if that even happens. Although at some point, I guess after you kind of demand a trade, you kind of lose the bargaining chip of saying where you want to go, right? So it's you're less in the
you could just, you're already demanding shit. You might as well just keep demanding stuff while you're at it. Like,
oh sure, you can demand.
I want to go here. What's to stop him? Doesn't have to get traded. I mean, it's pretty sad that that's how it's going to end up with his time in Boston. Like, really, never got it going. He had 2 injuries. That first one was just horrific. Out for the whole year. And even his mustache couldn't power him through. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic because, from what I've heard, at least from players on the team, but more from the family, that they were calling him the son of the coach and everything like that, like Brad Stevens' son. So he was getting more playing time than what other players were getting and things like that. So kind of ironic to think that he's somehow complaining about what happened with the Celtics when, it sounds like to me that he's getting more playing time than other players. Whether that's actually true or not, you never really know. But it does seem to be some. It didn't seem to me like he was clicking that well with Smart and with Tatum and Brown. I don't know. There's going to be a huge problem with the Celtics moving forward, right? It's how do you maintain their level of growth when potentially both of these players are going to be, superstars in the league. They're already superstars, but even growing even more famous and better with their skills and everything like that, especially Tatum. So how do you control that, or what pieces do you need to add to that? They obviously need to get some sort of center. I don't think Taco is going to be able to fill in for that role as
come on, man. Yes, he can.
People want him to, but I think there's and I want him to too. I love Taco, but there's other players that obviously in that position just have more experience, and that's what they need right now, is just an experienced center that they can put in there. They'll probably draft a center tonight, which I don't know if that's going to help them either.
Well, it's a complete opposite thing of what you just said. If they need experience at the center at the 5, why are you going to draft a 5? Why don't you go out and get one?
Exactly. So
Dwight Howard's on the market. Go get his ass.
Yeah, I don't with most Boston sports in general, the drafts never seem to pan out very well. They always seem to kind of either miss the mark or later progress into a player that can be great. But there's Boston sports in general, they stay at a level where it's hard. It's tough because you're not getting any favors from the draft itself, because your record's always pretty good. I mean, they're making it to the Eastern Conference Final. They're not going to have a terrible, they're doing just enough to not get rewarded by the draft. And this is across Boston sports in general. This is why the Patriots will never have a, first rounder, a high first rounder, because their record is always decent enough that it doesn't matter at that point.
They might this year.
But even if they, well, I mean,
they're gonna have a
I hope
top
you
pick
saw.
this
I hope you
year.
saw a brand new team this week, right? Like this was.
Nah.
Well, of course you didn't, but the rest of us watching were very, very impressed with what was going on. Anyway, yeah, a lot of.
They're playing the Jets.
No, they played Baltimore. If you forget, they played Baltimore and beat Baltimore, right. Which was pretty impressive. But
still not telling. It's still not telling.
Yeah, I mean the Eagles lost. What's that? No name to the Giants. They lost.
Hey, that was formidable opponent.
Yeah. Formidable.
Formidable.
Just try to keep the vocab easy enough for everybody. We're not going live at Harvard right here. So,
oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean more about the NBA, just like potential trade. I mean the Chris Paul traded to the Suns, which is interesting.
It's very I find that very interesting indeed.
It's kind of like, I mean, good for that. I mean, good for them in the fact that they'll be able to sell some jerseys, and it's a good move in that sense. And he can add a lot to the team and veteran leadership and all that. Does that trade dramatically impact how well they do this year? I don't know. If they're all of a sudden a contender.
I mean, didn't the Suns finish pretty?
I don't know what their record was, but they're never in they weren't in the playoffs, right?
No, they've been garbage the last few years, of course. Yeah, they've been garbage. But I don't know. I mean,
76ers also traded Al Horford.
Thank God.
Draft picks to the Thunder. Draft picks for Danny Green. A lot of news out of the NBA draft tonight. It's going on now. From last I've been checking, Hornets. We kind of predicted, both of us, I think, that maybe LaMelo Ball would go first. I actually thought he would go first. He went third to the Hornets, which is interesting. I brought up kind of pre-show. Interesting pick just because of the Michael Jordan aspect of the Hornets, which is kind of like, funny to see. Depending on what LaMelo does. I mean, wait, LaMelo signed a deal, right? With the, was it Puma?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he has a deal with Puma. It's kind of interesting that
you're playing the big baller brand at? Where the triple Bs?
Well, but you're playing for Michael Jordan, who obviously has a sizable shoe deal in himself. So
Puma's like the, up and coming, like new shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
at Nike or Jordan, he'd just be a drop in the bucket. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. So Anthony Edwards went first to the Timberwolves. I heard that the Timberwolves were trying to trade early or right before the draft. They were trying to trade their pick, and they actually went for Anthony Edwards. They couldn't get any bites on that pick, I guess, or didn't get enough for the pick. And Warriors draft James Wiseman. And Bulls drafted Patrick Williams at the 4th. So I think they're on the 6th pick, maybe the 7th by now. Kind of interesting where LaMelo Ball falled at the Hornets.
I'm sure his dad is thrilled.
Yeah. I mean, like, either way, like, you got to say one thing, like, the genes are there, right? Like, the father might be an annoying character in himself, but to have two sons, like, imagine that, like, two sons being drafted in the NBA and being
in the
drafted
top three.
Yeah,
top 3 draft picks.
Those are pretty much like lottery ticket genes right there. The middle child, what's his name?
LiAngelo. Yeah, man, he stole some sunglasses. Trump helped him out, and then the rest was history, man. That sucks.
Yeah, so that's kind of bad breaks, I guess, for him. But
I was just thinking, we're talking about all the big baller brand and stuff. We haven't heard a peep out of LeVar Ball. Thank God.
Actually, I did just hear something ironically enough, I did just watch something today that was him on a podcast, and he basically said that his sons should not pay attention to any women while they're in the NBA. He used another term for them, starting with an H, but he said that women should not that they shouldn't even be viewing serious relationships with women at this time. So
What's
kind of
the
interesting.
advice? They're 20 years old. Yeah, should be doing that.
Yeah, and then he said, and then he went on to say that by the time they're 30 and out of the NBA, then if you get in a relationship with a woman, you got to wonder why a woman is single at 30. So it's like a whole funny thing.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, just at that point, I mean, I'm sure they'll do fine. But imagine being the girl going back to meet the Ball family and how much pressure that is, and all that whole situation is very funny to me.
Take a special type of person to be able to gel with that with him, really. I mean, the mom seems pretty even keel.
We got a couple comments from top fan Erica Collins. Lonzo Ball just revealed on The Masked Singer, so that's something.
What?
Guess he's doing that. Has time for that right now. Has time for some singing. And Greg Derrigan, top fan Greg Derrigan, said, don't count out the Giants, and women are like fine wine, and die Eagles die. Die Eagles die. So,
die Eagles die.
It's just another, Anyway,
I will say the Giants are formidable. You haven't agree on that much.
Just add that one in there. All right, so let's get into it a little bit. Some NFL news. We kind of went through as much basketball as I think we want to tonight. There's going to be a lot of more news as far as trades go and everything like that. I think it's still very complicated. Especially James Harden, that whole situation. If he goes to the Nets, that whole super team. I mean, the Celtics are going to have a lot more trouble this year against the Nets. Last year was kind of their time to not, have that kind of superpower team in their division. And now they're going to have the Nets, and, other teams are making moves. So if they don't make moves, they don't strengthen the team. If they don't get, figure out a place or figure out a way that Marcus Smart can work on the team, if they don't focus on their top talent with Brown and Tatum and really complement that, that's the only way I think that they have a chance of getting a finals. And realistically, then you have
they were one game away from the finals last year. I mean, right?
Yeah, and that's the way it's been for 3 years. They've been making it to that point, and they just can't get past that point. And then you also have to think not much change has happened in the Lakers this year. So how do you beat them? How, even if you...
Well, they're looking at DeRozan. I saw they're the Lakers are trying to get DeMar DeRozan to come over there. Holy crow! Yeah,
and they obviously have proven themselves with the other kind of not washed up, but bits and pieces from other teams of veteran players with Rondo, and they've made kind of made a lot of players. So it's interesting though, because of the pandemic, how that will all plan out, what the plan is for, the bubble situation, how that will work, is that, the season in general.
Oh, Klay Thompson is hurt. Did you see that? He hurt himself again.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
I just saw that on a network television show. Yeah. He was at a workout and he hurt himself. I don't know if that's so.
Yeah, that's
maybe that's why they drafted Wiseman. They didn't trade that pick away. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Maybe if he doesn't get hurt, maybe they trade down and get an established vet or something. But now they're nah, maybe we'll get that guy.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Crazy.
a
It's
lot of
funny how we
things.
said we're going to talk football and we're still talking NBA.
Well, I mean, it is like there is a lot of things that are going to happen in a very short amount of time. Like it's kind of crazy how much can be impacted in like a month's time, before the season starts or whatever. It's because of the pandemic and because of how late the season started. We're talking about maybe a month and a half before the season starts, something like that. So, depending on what they actually do and what the whole plan is. So, interesting to see what will happen. Let's talk a little bit about football now. We got Drew Brees basically like ending up in a body cast after his game.
Yeah, dude.
Broken ribs.
Collapsed lung.
He's got a collapsed lung on the right
Yeah.
side. The funny thing is, I think most of those injuries were actually pre-existing. I think that
Sounds like an insurance company.
Yeah, exactly. That just reminds me of like
one lung, you son of a bitch.
that commercial. He's like, expired. It's the aunt. Like, I love it. Yeah, expired.
Just the fact that he could play through any of that, like for as long as he was. I mean, we don't know how long he's been dealing with that injury, obviously. But the fact that especially at his age, that he could be playing that long and didn't, like get hurt earlier or get hurt worse earlier, is just a testament to. Unfortunately, just eventually his body wore down. It seems like.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think you can probably play on one broken rib, maybe, and then once you get like 6 of them, it's like, okay, like, this isn't worth it at my age and everything like that. And then the lung factor of the collapsed lung. I mean, like, I don't see how he's even throwing the ball with like that kind of pain and everything, like how he's doing anything. So interesting. What will happen with that? I think Ryan Doherty, our Saints expert, will be writing an article on cruelfan.com about the impact of Drew Brees being injured and moving forward with Jameis Winston and possibly Hill. I don't know for a fact that they'll go with Winston 100%.
Yeah, I guess they do have Hill too, but
yeah. So, the way that they use Hill in general, it would favor that Winston would be, the starter and everything like that. So, maybe they do, they do that, but
maybe they just up Hill's, like maybe instead of like 5 to 7 plays, he has like 15 plays or something. They just double his time or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe he gets first team snaps at practice. I don't know. I wonder if he's getting, like first team reps and stuff.
Yeah.
Probably, under center and shit. I wonder.
And I mean, there are worse quarterback problems to have on your team. To have, one like just general quarterback and then a guy who's just a all-purpose player. I mean, if you have that on your team, you might as well use that to your advantage and keep defenses guessing. With Kamara, Thomas, Sanders.
Yeah.
I know Traquan Smith got hurt in this game too, but like you have a lot of talent on that team. You might as well put it to good use.
Yeah, they need to. The problem is like Winston can actually be very effective on this team. It's just a matter of like how long his leash is, right? Like they need to keep him to a point where he's not like making ridiculous turnovers and things like that. Like that's been always his, or at least last year, that was his main problem. It's like all these turnovers that he was, throwing up prayers to guys, and like, arguably he had a very sound receiving core, at Tampa Bay too. So like Tampa Bay has made, their guys have gotten healthier this year, and they've gotten, help with Antonio Brown and Gronk and like other receivers. It's not just, Godwin and Evans out there anymore. But moving forward with Winston and the Saints, he needs to be setting up the screen pass and handing off that ball and, getting Latavius, Murray more involved. And like, there's got to be more action, more a different type of play. And they might do a situation where they put both of them in and just kind of rotate, those two quarterbacks, Hill and, they operate with the Wildcat a lot with Hill. And if you're, mixing in Wilson to that, then, maybe you have the opportunity of doing well. But it just seems like there's always something with the Saints, right? Like they can't get over this hill no pun intended, but they can't get over this like hill that they're trying to just like, like just simplify the game or whatever and get past playoffs. And they always have such a powerhouse team, and then something happens or a flag comes. It just seems like bad luck to me with them. But I mean, some of it is self-induced, I guess, and the play calling and everything like that. They seem to just kind of implode when it comes to playoff times. And we're getting towards that time later in the season. We're at week 11 this week. A lot of crazy matches. Thursday night game is going to be kind of crazy this week. Cardinals versus Seahawks rematch. Interesting game in itself. Cardinals took the first one against the Seahawks this year, so it'll be interesting, right? Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how that game plays out. Let's get in a little bit about the Patriots. What did you see from Baltimore? Looks like we lost Josh for a minute. But anyway, what did you see from the Patriots this week against Baltimore?
I mean, simply put, they showed the rest of the world that they're not dead yet. They beat Lamar Jackson. Again, Lamar was his kind of breakout game last year was on Sunday Night Football in Baltimore, beating an undefeated Patriots team that was coming in riding high. And people can point out the elements all you want, but at the end of the day, come playoff time, you're going to probably see those elements too. Or there's a really good possibility that could happen. And I don't want to hear the excuse about the elements playing a part in it. You still have to learn how to play in it. Patriots did just fine with the elements. They didn't turn the ball over. This is the reigning MVP we're talking about. Why? What's his excuse?
Yeah, there was obviously that big play with the snap issues and everything like that, but like it's more than that. And plus, like, we're talking about Baltimore. We're not talking, there's inclement weather. They play in games like this all the time, like as a team, this isn't like Californian team, like
not a dome team.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's ways of adjusting to it and everything like that. And plus, when you have I know Lamar hates being called a running back, but when you have that ability as a quarterback, the mobility of him, that should, like, a bad weather game should kind of play into that strength, right? Like, you should be able to run the ball more and everything like that. Patriots did a great job of containing him. The defense played well. You got an interception from Jackson there, who's playing out of his mind. I think he has the most interceptions in the NFL, right? I think it's at like 5 or 6. So he playing very well, especially for, being a rookie, everything like that. He's really stepped up. I think, with leadership from Gilmore and everything like that, you develop those kind of players for the Patriots, for the defense. It's, they have a chance now. Like, I did not expect. I'll give a shout out to top fan Greg Darrigan. He told me that the Patriots were going to win this game. I did not believe that they were going to win. I had no faith that they were going to win. I thought it may be like closer, but the exact scenario that happened with Lamar having the ball and being able to like try to mount a comeback, I just expected that they would have scored at the end. Like, I thought it'd be close and that like the rain would play a factor into it and everything like that, but I thought they would just have the opportunity to get the touchdown at the end, and they just weren't able to put the drive together and get it done. Shout out to Cam Newton for being able to, score early and get, points on the board and control the football and make good passes and all of that, and focus on, what they were doing. And that Jacoby Myers play, I mean, I think we didn't even get to talk about that yet.
Yeah.
What a throw. Rex Burkhead played amazing. And, that's kind of the Julian Edelman play that probably would have happened, but you give Jacoby Myers a chance, and probably not a lot of people. I didn't expect it at all. I didn't even know his background of being a quarterback and being able to throw the ball. So seeing that play was like, what? I was so excited when that happened. Perfect little throw to Burkhead. And then for Burkhead to catch it the way he did and everything like that as a running back and like, just like that. And, being a shorter guy and like that whole situation, like the amazing play to draw up, shout out to whoever, I don't know if it was McDaniels or, Belichick that came up with that one, but that is a nice little play to pull out against Baltimore, right? Like you save that up for playing against Baltimore, as they've known about they've been practicing this obviously, like quite a bit, and then to be able to pull it out against Baltimore is pretty crazy that worked. Yeah. So moving forward, who do they got this week?
Houston.
Yeah, so they're playing Houston. It kind of can go either way. Sometimes Houston has our number. They're not performing very well this year. And David Johnson, I think, is out, right? So a few injuries on that team. They obviously lost their biggest threat with Hopkins, but they got a couple weapons there that they can use too. So it'll be interesting to see how that, and Houston's always been not particularly this year, but in the past they've always been a defensive juggernaut of a team. So we'll see how they can play against. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, at first I was a little worried about this game because of our defense, but just looking, I mean, there was a preview that came out on like the NFL YouTube channel. They're not good against, their defense is not good against the run. They're not good against, their bottom three against the run, against the pass. Sean Watson's been sacked lots of times. I think 24 times on the year.
Wow.
Which is like sixth most. Obviously, we've struggled with pass rush recently, but I mean, our defense has stepped up in the last couple of weeks when they needed to, and I think that combination is going to give Houston trouble. We do need to not let Will Fuller and Case Stills and especially Brandon Cooks get behind us.
Yeah.
But if we can get pressure into Deshaun Watson, like they got held to 7 points last week in Cleveland.
I think so,
yeah. And they've only won 2 games all year. This isn't, even with the receivers I just said, they've had that problem all year. They can't protect Deshaun Watson. He's scrambling for his life all the time, and they just can't consistently score points against even the best or worst teams in the league. So
yeah,
I don't see it. I mean, it might be a little bit close, but I think at the end of the day, just like all the issues Houston has defensively and protecting Deshaun Watson is going to be too much for them to overcome.
Yeah, what's funny is like the way that they played against the Jets, the way the Patriots played against the Jets. If they would have lost to the Ravens, we would have been talking about a different story right now, right? Like we would be more worried about this game against Houston because they weren't like great against the Jets. They did enough to get the comeback and get the win and everything like that, but they were certainly not like great against the Jets. But but now that they won against Baltimore, I mean, that's like a huge win. So and they didn't blow them out by any means. It was 17-23. They weren't like, this wasn't like it was a huge victory, but it wasn't like there was doubt many times in that game that they were going to lose. So they play the Texans, then they got the Cardinals, which will be a test for sure. It's the Cardinals, and then where do they go? They got they're playing the Chargers, Rams, Dolphins. So they got, and then of course, like, what's interesting is the way that the division is set up and the way that the Dolphins have been playing and the way that the Bills have been playing. We got some key games at the end of the season against the Bills and Dolphins that actually matter this year. Usually, like, you get to this point and the Patriots have a good enough record that it doesn't matter really. And these are kind of like, you don't want a game like you had against Miami where you blow the lead in the last second. Miami wins by a miracle play, of course, and you want to win that game. But it's more crucial this year that they get the win late in the season. So we'll see how that all plays out. I mean, anything can kind of happen. If they're able to beat Houston, they're in a real good position to get some key then key games start to happen, right? If they lose against Houston, not the end of their season, but they need to pick this one up. They need to get this one and get some momentum going. I think Cam Newton's very much a momentum player. And, he got a little bit of confidence getting the comeback against the Jets. You heard McDaniels during halftime say to Cam Newton, basically like, we're going to win this game, and saying to everybody, we're going to win this game, just confident about it. They've kind of, I think they've missed that confidence from Tom Brady being gone. Like they're missing that guy in the locker room that's going to say like, no, we're winning this game. Like it seems like Cam was very defeated, and although Monday morning he's saying that he's feeling spectacular and all these things and very happy, like he's not happy losing games, and this is as much of a tryout for him as it is for the Patriots what they're going to do next year. So we'll see what the Pats actually decide to do as far as his at this point in the season, if they get a win against Houston, do you think that you can make the argument that Cam Newton deserves a contract extension for next year yet?
I mean, yeah, I think obviously Jacoby Myers is a player, obviously we've talked about his trick play, but he's turned into the star of this team right now, at least from the receiving corps standpoint. And so if you can get him, possibly Edelman if he's healthy, and then add another receiver, maybe a tight end. I don't think that the way the season's gone so far has been completely on Cam's shoulders. Obviously, the whole COVID thing and him getting COVID, we don't know how much that affected him. He finally, the last couple of games, started looking like himself again.
Yeah.
So we don't really know how much that affected him. But if they're able, obviously, I think they're going to win against Houston. The next few games after that worries me immensely because of who they're playing. Arizona, both LA teams. I think you said Miami and Buffalo after that.
Yep.
I mean, those teams are clearly in the playoff race, and they're clearly top of the conference right now, or top of their respective conferences. So that's going to be the real test. I think, like I said, I still think they're going to beat Houston. They have way more problems than we do. Obviously, they fired their coach this year.
And whether people want to admit it or not, it is the National Football League still. So you got guys still trying their hardest. But when your record is, what it is for Houston, I think they have 2 wins. So when your record is reflecting that, like, they know the deal, they know that this is not the season that they're going to win the Super Bowl. They know, they most likely aren't even going to make playoffs. So, and especially in the division they're in. So no, I'm not saying that guys aren't going to be trying, but there's less, there's something about the Patriots have to win this game, or like really need to win this game. I wouldn't say it's a must win, but it's close. It's close to a must win. So that versus like going against a Houston team that, I mean, the only really reason why they want to win is because it's the Patriots, right? Like, and that's a problem that the Patriots have against a lot of teams. Playing the Patriots and beating them, especially at home, is like equivalent to a lot of guys like, feeling like they won a playoff game, basically. Like, it's not equivalent to a Super Bowl win, obviously, or something like that, but it's equivalent to, a first round playoff game victory. They want to win in New England. They want to beat Bill Belichick. They want to get that win. It's just the way that it is. So
I don't think Bill Belichick didn't forget about Houston beating us last year either.
Right.
In Houston. Obviously it's not the same as losing to Baltimore last year, but it was one of those games that no one, well, maybe not no one, but you weren't expecting them to lose that game, and so they have something to prove too, that they can, like I said, they can win consistently without Tom Brady. and that this team is on an upward trend right now. Obviously, they have a tough schedule coming up after this, but you're right, it is a must-win game,
Yeah.
just because of everything going on and where they are in the standings as well. So I think depending on what Cam's performance is after this game, um, if they win, I mean, then I don't know. The jury's kind of still out for me in terms of whether there's a contract extension. Um, he obviously, like I said, isn't the only reason we only have won 4 games this year.
Yeah.
But he's improving, and obviously no training camp. Weird off season with everything going on. Again, not trying to make excuses or anything, but it's just the reality of the situation. A lot is different this year, and he's on a new team, and he's improving every day. He has the right attitude.
Yeah.
Yes, at times he's maybe been down on himself, but he's a competitor. Like, this is the type of person you want on your team, and
Yeah.
clearly his teammates love him. The coaches love him. So it's just a matter of things falling the right way and them executing their game plan, and again beating the top teams in the league. They've already played Baltimore. They've already played Kansas City and Buffalo. Very tough.
Right.
And so who knows?
Yeah. Hey, so we lost Josh right now. I'm not sure if he'll be back in time for our game, but we're going to play a trivia game. If anybody that's watching right now on the live feed on Facebook would like to go against Whitney in the trivia game, mention yourself in the comments and I'll try to send you a link. You need Zoom to be able to join live here, but we'll play for an ice shaker bottle. So if anybody's interested in playing against Whitney in the trivia game, just mention in the comments and I'll try to get the link over to you to set that up and we'll play a game. Some interesting news in the MLB coming out. Cano suspended for the 2021 season from the Mets. He tested positive for performance enhancing drugs for the second time. I'm not sure did you end up seeing how close the tests were? I'm not 100% sure if he previously tested or if this was like 2 tests in a row that he basically, either way, it's not good. Not good news to test positive for drugs twice.
Yeah, he was last suspended in 2018 for 62 games, I believe.
Okay, so it looks like this suspension is 160 something games, which basically means the whole entire season.
Sorry, 80 games, not.
Oh, okay.
62.
Yeah, so we'll, big hit to the Mets, but more hit to just the legacy, I guess, of like just like the what he's going to leave behind and everything like that. Is this time that he retires? That whole situation. So, yeah, interesting. He obviously was injured and probably, I think to a certain extent, thought with the shorter season he might be able to get away with certain. And he's not the first guy to ever take steroids, but which actually I think more. I would argue that more players take steroids to recover from injuries than they do to actually like bulk up and get hits, right? Like it's the injury time. Like I think that's what Edelman, when he popped hot for PEDs was too. He was, the leg injury and everything like that. He was like trying to recover from that. So I think it's more recovery time that the performance enhancing drugs help out, but certainly interesting whole thing. A lot of free agents in the MLB. Also, we've been kind of going back and forth about DJ LeMahieu the last couple weeks. Looks like that the Mets now might be a landing spot from him. It's kind of funny because if the Yankees lose DJ LeMahieu to either the Mets or the Red Sox, like it's a loss for Yankees fans, right? Like either way, it's not good. But when you got contracts coming up for a lot of players, I mean, they're they got a lot. They got some work to do this free agent season to make up for Tanaka. Then you got LeMahieu, Judge's contract. There's like I think he signed a 1-year deal last year. I think it was only for like $8 million or something like that. Like these guys are obviously like they're going to be paying him a ton of money. And they're not going to let him go like Mookie. We kind of talked about that before the show, but they're going to make every effort. The Yankees are going to make every effort to not lose a star like Aaron Judge. I mean, he basically puts fans in seats for the Yankees. So there's no way they let him go. Plus the talent level there and whatever. Greg Darrigan in the comments says, "I wonder what the Red Sox will do to break 500." I think it's a different season, 2021. I think it's I don't know. Whitney, what do you think?
Yeah, I think they need to go after pitching. I mean, we talked about this before we came on here. Pitching is going to be what they need more than anything else. I mean, obviously, could they use upgrades in certain parts of the lineup? Yes. But pitching has been a problem since the beginning of 2019. I mean, they've had closer issues, obviously. Losing Chris Sale, Eduardo Rodriguez, Nathan Eovaldi at different times for injuries, basically killed any chance of them doing anything in 2019, and same thing in 2020 as well. Obviously, the Eduardo Rodriguez thing, you couldn't do anything about that. COVID is COVID, and obviously their health is more important than anything else. But at the same time, they need other pitching to step up too, because let's say Eduardo Rodriguez for some reason can't come back.
Yep.
They need someone to replace him. Same thing with Sale. Who knows how he's going to look when he gets back? I hope with how good he was before he had surgery or Tommy John surgery and everything. We hope he does come back to full strength. But where is the rest of the pitching staff? Who's going to step up on that pitching staff? Who's going to be our closer?
Yeah, they need to in general, I'm going to make the argument that they're not going to get a closer. They believe in a system of rotating guys and just with, Hyams like plan for, everything. They're not going to they're not going to make a run for a closer. What they can do, I mean, there are some free agents. I'm looking at the free agent list right now, for at least starting pitchers. They got Paxton out there, Tanaka, Trevor Bauer obviously is a huge pitcher that is still kind of, Trevor Bauer is interesting as a character in himself because he has a
YouTube channel.
Yeah, he's trying to be the next Cruel Fan Sports, but he's dramatizing that whole thing, which he very well should. So I don't know what will actually happen with him. He might just stay put where he is and not move, which I could see happening. But he's obviously baiting a lot of teams and a lot of fans. He once maybe a month or two ago, he tweeted out a picture of a plane ticket to Boston, and a lot of people said it was fake anyway. But obviously just tweeting that, he's trying to get some conversation going about, the Red Sox could definitely use his arm, adding him into the rotation. That's a huge thing. In general, I always, think that if you focus on the starting guys, if you focus on that core, the rest of the rest of the players will fall into place. You can survive with great starting pitching, mediocre hitting, and an okay bullpen and closer, and rotating closer. You can survive with that. It's the starting pitching that if you make it late into games, frankly, you only have to worry about 3 or 4 innings to figure out what's going on. So, we'll see what happens. Okay, so Jay Savay is going to play Whitney, top fan Jay Survey, is going to be playing Whitney in the Cruel Fan Sports Hour trivia game. It's Sunk My Battleship. This is going to be a little more difficult just because of the delay, but we'll try to make it work as much as possible. I don't know what Greg's saying. Don't bother. You can't split an ice shaker. Well, it's one ice shaker to the one who wins, Greg. I don't know what you're saying. Anyway, all right. So, Jay, if you're listening here, the teams basically, your choices are. So we'll play Sunk Battleship trivia for Cruel Fan Sports, sponsored by Ice Shaker. Check out the link in the description for Ice Shaker products. Check out that link in the description. All right, so Whitney, since you're live with us here, we'll give you the first pick. Your choices are between this is for the Thursday night game. We're going to do Seahawks versus Cardinals. So your choices are between the starting quarterbacks to start. Would you like Murray or Wilson?
I'm going to have to go with the hot-handed Kyle Murray, just because I don't trust Seattle's defense.
Okay. So what is going to take Murray? So Jay, your choices are Wilson or DK Metcalf. Type in the comments what you want there. Hopefully this doesn't take too long with the delay here.
Well, I guess while we're waiting for that, who do you have for Thursday's game?
Yeah, so I think that the Cardinals have enough momentum to be able to beat the Seahawks again. I think that, the way that they finished out last week's game, the amazing reception to Hopkins there, and just like that whole play and everything. So Jay is going to take Wilson. Would you like DK Metcalf or DeAndre Hopkins?
Metcalf.
Okay.
I wish I could have both, but obviously that's not possible.
All right. So Jay, your choices between DeAndre Hopkins and Kenyon Drake, and we'll keep on talking about the game. Yeah. Did you see the? You obviously saw the play from Hopkins. It was on.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I mean, the jaw dropped to the floor.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. And I mean, he's clearly the Texans. We've talked about this a number of times. It's amazing they still traded him.
Yep.
That's really all I have to say about that.
All right, real quick, Kenyon Drake or Christian Kirk?
Wait, is Drake hurt?
I think he's back from injury this week.
Oh, okay. What was the other choice?
Christian Kirk for the Cardinals.
Yeah, Kenyon Drake.
Okay. And Jay, you have between Christian Kirk and Alex Collins. New pickup for Seattle, Alex Collins, because Chris Carson, I think, is still injured. So you'll get the starting running back, whoever it is. It's either Alex Collins or Carson, but I think Carson's still injured. So between Christian Kirk and Alex Collins is your choice. Yeah. This week moving forward, the Seahawks have the firepower, and obviously Russell Wilson is playing extremely well. But they did, suffer some loss there, and they, okay, so Jay took Kurt. You have between Alex Collins and Chase Edwards. What?
Wait, what? Chase Edwards is, sorry, I'm not familiar with that name.
Oh, Edmonds, sorry.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I read it wrong.
Alex Collins or Chase Edmonds? Is he their only running? Is Alex Collins? Who else?
Well, it's Carson. Carson is the guy, and then Hyde. They have Hyde too, but they're both injured right now. So you'll basically get the starting running back, whoever it is, or Chase Edmonds.
Edmonds.
Okay, and so that means that Jay, you get Alex Collins. So since Whitney picked first, the first question goes to Jay. And these are harder trivia questions, but basically it plays if you win. then you, if you win the question, you have to, you basically have the ability to put an X on one of Whitney's players, and 3 X's means that they don't play. An X counts for 1/3 of the play points being deducted from the team. So, first question: of Roger Clemens pitch for which MLB team in 2001? And we're gonna have to use the honor system since Jay is, playing from his phone right now. But Roger Clemens pitched for which MLB team in 2001? What's the answer to that question? Anyway, so the Seahawks, they've because of not having the running game and the consistent running game, I think Alex Collins coming from Baltimore and having that, and he wasn't even on a team. So being able to introduce him and everything like that, I think he is going to have a significant impact on the team. And depending on injuries, we'll see what happens, but it doesn't look like anyone's going to get too healthy for tomorrow night's game. So, it's going to be another shootout. I think it's a high scoring game. It's, it'll come down probably to how it came down to last time. It's going to be the last play of the game. Depends on who wins the game. I really think that's the way it's going to be. Neither defense is amazing. Seahawks probably have the edge over the Cardinals. I think just due to injuries and stuff. I would say at the beginning of the season, Cardinals probably have the better players there. But okay, so Jay guessed Yankees. That is correct. Yankees are correct. So you have the opportunity. Your choices are Murray, DK Metcalf, Kenyon Drake, or Chase Edmonds to put an X on. I'm going to go ahead and say that you're going to put an X on Murray to start, but I could be wrong about that. So anyway, we'll see what happens against the Thursday night game. It's going to be kind of, it'll be a shootout, and it's going to be definitely we got Josh coming back in, I think. All right.
Hey.
Welcome back.
Thanks. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
That's the downside of doing this in your car.
Live from Philadelphia.
Seriously, yo.
Okay, so we're actually playing this game with a top fan right now because we weren't sure if you were coming back. So
yeah,
we're playing with Jay right now through Facebook. So
Jay.
A little bit of a delay, but we're still getting it. So he actually put the X on DK Metcalf. He got the question right, put the X on DK Metcalf. So I'm going to give the third question to Jay ahead of time so he can answer. And so which school did Baker Mayfield play for prior being drafted to the NFL? So which school did Baker Mayfield, which college did he come from? And Whitney, in 2000, Steve McNair made the NFL Pro Bowl for which team?
2000, you said?
Yep.
Tennessee Titans.
Titans is correct. So your players that you can pick from are he's got Wilson, DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk, and Alex Collins.
Doesn't he have Russell Wilson too?
Yep, Wilson. Yep.
I'm gonna say Russell Wilson.
Okay, so you're going to put an X on Wilson, so 1/3 of the points are going to be taken away from Wilson. Jay got the third question right. It's Oklahoma. So you have the option to put another X on Metcalf or Murray, Kenyon Drake, or Chase Edmonds are your choices there. Whitney, the next question. What team did Eli Manning get drafted to originally? What team did Eli Manning get drafted to originally?
Ooh, that's a good one.
What was that?
The Chargers.
Yep, the Chargers. Yeah, it is a little bit of folklore, right? History. Eli Manning getting drafted to the Chargers, basically coming out and saying before the draft that he wouldn't even play for the Chargers, and that whole controversy. So interesting whole thing. So Jay is going to put an X on Murray. And Jay, your next question is which NBA player got the most votes for the 2016 NBA All-Star Game? And your choices are LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. I'm trying to think of and Russell Westbrook. Those are your choices. So which of those three, which got the most votes for the 2000? I forgot to write down. I had the answer, but not the other choices, and might be kind of awkward.
David Robinson.
Yeah. Shaquille O'Neal. All right, so Jay said LeBron. It was actually Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as you said Kobe, I was like, yeah, that's probably what the answer is going to be.
Yeah. So Kobe Bryant's actually the answer. So no damage done. For in that turn, which player did you want to, Whitney? I don't think we got your answer for which player did you want to put an X on?
Give me the list of players again.
You currently have one X on Wilson.
Okay, and then it was Hopkins.
No, he has Wilson. He has DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk, and Alex Collins.
Yeah, another one on Wilson.
All right, Jay. I'll give Jay his question first. Was Joe Montana older than 24 when he won his first Super Bowl? Was he older or younger than 24? That's a question going to Jay. Whitney, in baseball, who is the Yankees' legendary number 7?
Joe DiMaggio.
Nope. So Mickey Mantle was legendary number 7 for the Yankees. Mickey Mantle.
Well,
what number was Joe DiMaggio? Bonus question.
I don't know. What number was he, Josh?
That was number 5. The Yankee Clipper, number 5.
All right.
And this is why I'm not a Yankees fan.
Who was number 4? Lou Gehrig. We'll go down the list.
Which team did Babe Ruth play for?
He got drafted by the Orioles. Then he went to the Red Sox, and then he went to the Yanks.
Oh, okay. I thought that history might have been. So he was actually older than 24. Jay got the question wrong again. 25. He was 25 years old. Older than 25 when Joe Montana won his first Super Bowl. Pretty young.
When was that? 80? What was that? 81?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, somewhere in the 80s.
Somewhere in the
early 80s.
But was Patrick Mahomes the youngest?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
All right. So Jay, this is a question for you. You lucked it. Jay is a golfer, so it's actually lucky for him that he gets his question. Who won the Masters last year? I think you guys would have the answer to this too, but let's just leave it to Jay. He's a golfer. He'll know this answer, I'm confident. Whitney, your last question. How many seasons did Peyton Manning play for the Colts, over or under 13?
Let's see. Wait, under over what number?
13. Jay got his question right. So Jay, you have the option of putting an X on Murray.
What was the answer?
Tiger Woods.
Oh, that would have been my guess too.
Tiger Woods won the Masters last year. After a long time of not winning, he won the Masters. So you have the option of putting on Murray, DK Metcalf, Kenyon Drake, or Chase Edmonds. Those are your choices there, Jay. And he put it on Murray again. So Murray will lose 2/3 of his points against G.
I'm going to say under, by the way, for my question.
Okay, so you pick under. Unfortunately, it was over with 14. 14 season for the Colts. And then, of course, went to the Broncos. And
he played 18 years?
Oh, yeah. So, Jay, your last question. Which Patriots player famously performed a drop kick versus the Dolphins? Which player? Hey, he got a golf question, which is right up his alley. So,
Dang it.
I know you know the answer to this, but the Yankees questions wasn't fair to you. I'll give you that. But
oh well.
how many points is a drop kick worth?
2.
2 points. That's correct. Although it doesn't matter in your case.
Lose some, you win some.
Yeah. So currently, you put an X on 2 X's on Wilson. So Wilson will lose 2/3 of his points, and Murray will also lose 2/3 of his point. So Jay got the question right. What's the answer, Whitney? You want to give it out?
Doug Flutie.
Doug Flutie is correct.
That's
Doug
what I
Flutie,
thought. The flute man.
famously performed a drop kick in a game that basically didn't matter against the Dolphins, but a very interesting whole storyline there with Doug Flutie playing and doing the drop kick. So, Jay, you have the choice of getting rid of Murray, which would be my advice to you, but you could also go to DK Metcalf, Kenyon Drake, or Chase Edmonds. You could put an X on any of those. So
go with Edmonds, Jay. Go with Edmonds.
I would love for him to do that.
Do it, brother. Do it.
Yeah. So so this almost, that was the last question. So Murray is bye. He gives the waves emoji. So Murray is bye. The battleship has been sunk. The Murray battleship has been sunk. So remaining on Whitney's team, Whitney has DK Metcalf, Kenyon Drake, and Chase Edmonds, and top fan Jay Savay has Wilson with 2/3 of his points gone. DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk, and Alex Collins left on his team. So interesting Thursday night matchup. Obviously getting rid of Murray is huge, but Whitney, I am proud to announce that you did win last week's matchup against Josh. It was 20.3 points to 18.38 points. And actually what ended up helping you out is you were able to get rid of key players, Ryan Tannehill, you were able to get an X on Phillip Rivers, which was able to, you got rid of Tannehill because Josh had both quarterbacks, but
That's right. I did have both quarterbacks.
You were able to get 1/3 of the points. So big win for you last week. We'll see how you fare against the top fan, cruel fan, Jason Savay. So,
well, considering Arizona loves winning in Seattle, who knows?
Right. Yeah. So top fan Erica, the scoreboard, also has said DK should have 1/3 points gone and Murray sunk. Yes, that is true. DK Metcalf also has an X because Jay got some key points in the trivia round there. So anyway, thanks everybody. Thanks for the cruel fan, top fan participation this week. That's great.
You're welcome.
We're going to get some hopefully we could get some more interaction next week. Maybe bring somebody live onto the show to play against these two geniuses, and we'll see how they fare against them. But from Josh, Whitney, and of course myself, Ryan, thanks for watching Cruel Fan Sports Hour. Make sure to check out the link in the description for Ice Shaker products. And also, if podcasts are more your thing, check out the podcast version. You can pretty much get Cruel Fan Sports Hour downloaded onto your phone directly from anywhere you listen to your podcast. So check that out. We also got some pretty cool shows for college football. A lot of great content for fantasy football up there on the site. So check out some of those series. Also, we got a lot of great content coming out for Cruel Fan Sports. So anyway, cheers and check us out next week. Appreciate it. Thank you.